Hey everybody, on episode 393, CB, Alyssa, and I talk about Easter eggs in video games, which seemed fitting considering the holiday this past weekend. In news, we're very excited to hear that Amy Hennig's new company is officially working on a Star Wars game. You'll also hear my impressions of a new Metroidvania called Blast Brigade, and CB checked out Battle Kid and the Fortress of Peril. It might look familiar. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to episode 393 of The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community. It's Tuesday, April 19th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my friends Chris Behrensmeyer. What's up, man?
Hello, I'm here.
And Alyssa White. Alyssa, how are you?
I'm okay, Scott. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Let's forget Chris. Let's just unite his chat for a while.
I'm gonna hurt you.
Oh, no violence, please.
No,
Slap bet for Scott.
No slap bets whatsoever. Let's jump right into it. We got lots of games we've been catching up on. Let's see, CB, how about you? Let's start with you.
Oh, man. So I downloaded a few games today. One's called Replica.
Okay, you were talking about this when I was over at your house earlier today, but I have no idea what this game is, other than it has lots of endings.
So you stare at a cell phone.
What?
Yeah. You are trapped somewhere, and the entire game is played through a cell phone screen.
All right.
Including.
That sounds like something I'd play.
Actually, Alyssa, I think you would really dig this, but just keep in mind the subject matter is very dark.
Oh, that doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, well then this would be right up your alley. So you actually, the entire game, you are staring at a cell phone. You have to figure out how to unlock said cell phone.
It sounds like my kind of game.
You would probably like this too. But it's a really interesting game because you're essentially diving through someone's personal information to discover a dark secret to save your own life.
Reminds me of what were those games where they actually had the video that you were watching where you're going through a database?
War Games
was one.
Well, there was the War Games
Her
one.
Story?
Her Story, yeah.
Her Story, Telling Lies.
Right. Really going through a computer database and trying to unlock videos by finding keywords and that kind of thing. I'm intrigued by that concept. Does this one work?
It does. I will say that there's a lot of hidden endings. I know I've unlocked 11 different endings.
So I assume this is a short game.
It's very short.
Okay.
Like you can actually reach one of the endings in like 30 seconds.
Oh,
wow. Okay.
So
why is it called Replica? Or is that part of the secret of the story?
I think that's like the final ending.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a weird little game. I think it was originally designed for like iOS or Android.
Makes sense.
Somehow was ported onto Xbox. But okay. It's a little hard to get over the fact that it's essentially 16-bit graphic cell phone.
Oh.
Okay, so it's not realistic looking.
No, but they have like the jokey instead of Twitter, it's follow.
Nah.
Or Facebook is like.
Okay.
But yeah, as you progress through the game, like more apps unlock and you have to re-download them and then log into this person's app through information that you've uncovered to like find out more and more things. And as you find out more and more things, depending on what you do with them, can unlock different endings. So it's like $3.99 on Xbox. It's nice. Cheap. So
yeah, that is cheap.
I'm having some issues with the achievements popping, which is why I originally got this.
Well, you said you were having that with some other games too. So
yeah, I had that with 4 different games today. So,
so sounds like there might be an issue, not just focused on this particular game.
Yep. So there was that one. There's another newer game that I was playing that we'll talk about here in a minute because it's actually a new title. Namco Museum Archives Volume 2. I downloaded. All those beautiful Namco sweet 8-bit games, including Galaga.
Rally X?
I don't know if Rally X is on this one. I think that was on Volume 1.
Galaga.
But
Dig Dug.
Mappy Land.
Mappy Land, okay.
So a bunch of those. I mostly downloaded it because I've gotten every Galaga achievement for all the games, and this is one of the games that had Galaga that has an achievement, which I didn't have.
Nice.
And I did it, and I didn't get the achievement for it. So I'm
Oh
kinda
no.
mad. Upset. Hashtag angry.
As for me, I finished Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, at least in terms of the 9 episodes. I completed all 9 episodes over the weekend, and that game is an absolute joy to play. Here, listen to last week to hear me gush about that game. Really liked it. Continuously made me laugh, just throughout all the episodes. It was really good. I don't know if I'm going to go through and try to do the unlockable stuff, which is something I complained about in the review last week, was that I wanted to do that stuff on my first playthrough. It took me, 16, 18 hours to get through all those episodes, because there's 9 episodes in each one. You can barrel through in an hour and a half or 2 hours, but I kept finding all this stuff that I couldn't access because you can't do it until you reach free play mode, which you can't do until you beat the game. And I don't want to play through the episode and then immediately play through the episode again. I want to go to the next episode and get through it, which is what I did. So now that I've got all that done, I'm just feeling less and less motivated to go back and unlock all that stuff, because there is a ton of content. But still, very much worth the money if you love Star Wars, especially. It's great. So Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. Alyssa, you've been playing some more Cat Cafe Manager, yes?
Yes.
How are you digging it still?
I am loving it. It's very relaxing. I like to play it before I go to bed, especially, but I play it other times too.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a little stressful at times because some certain people that come to your cafe will eat all your ingredients up, but you don't have enough money to buy more ingredients, but they want salads and you're out of lettuce, so it's like, I'm sorry, here's a glass of water.
Wait a minute, so you're not just managing cats, it's actually a cafe game?
You're running the cafe as well as taking care of these cats.
Oh, I didn't remember that. I didn't pick up on that somehow, so, okay. So throw you a curveball every once in a while.
And some of my employees, just stand around, don't do anything. I'm like, go take their order. You can't actually tell them what to do. I'm telling the screen. I'm like, hear me through the screen. Go take their order.
Fired.
Makes you want to never be a manager, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anything else?
Not for me, besides I'm just playing Horizon still. And loving it.
How close are you? Any idea?
I'm probably not very close. I'm just now finishing the Seeds of the Past mission, where you go and gather the 3 kernels.
Nice. You are in for some fun surprises yet. Really looking forward to hearing what you think about that one. Next week, I will be talking about the Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. It was on sale on Xbox this past week, so I decided to finally pick that up. And then I got distracted by the game that I'm going to talk about in new games coming up, so I did not tap into it. So stay tuned next week to hear my thoughts on that, although it's a somewhat older game. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. A new trailer for a game called Hell Is Us is available. That is coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC in 2023. Check out that trailer. It looks really interesting. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate could be going up in price. Also, the director of Horizon Forbidden West is teasing a 3rd game already. Microsoft is reportedly looking into allowing ads in some games. And also, Skydance New Media is working with Lucasfilms to make a Star Wars game. That news dropped today, actually. And lastly, I just wanted to mention there was a video floating around the internet. I don't know much about it, but it shows Metroid Prime Trilogy, or all 3 Metroid Prime games being played on PC, and it does not look like a GameCube game. So be sure to check out our social media outlets for that link. But let's see. I don't even know where to start. Alyssa, let's start with you. What story would you like to talk about?
I'm really hyped about the Skydance Lucasfilm announcement, especially because Amy Hennig is involved. I'm wondering, are we going to see her game that she was going to make previously that was canceled, or is this going to be a brand new IP in the Star Wars universe?
It's hard to say, because obviously this is all kind of speculatory at this point. I mean, we just had an announcement that, hey, we're making a Star Wars game, and that's pretty much all the information we were given. However, somebody on Discord, and I'm gonna make myself really angry that I can't remember who it is, Somebody on Discord said that, it was Com Cody, enlightened me and said that, obviously that game, was it 1313? Was that the name of it, CB?
Yes.
Star Wars 1313, where you were going to be playing like a bounty hunter or something like that, or a group of bounty hunters, and you were going to eventually face off against Boba Fett, who was hunting you down. That got shuttered back a while back, and EA shut them down because, quote, single-player games don't sell. And then they released Fallen Order a few years later, which is interesting.
And it sold.
It sold pretty well. Anyway, so Hennig was quoted to say in 2018, when she actually left Naughty Dog, where she was writing for, "I'm not doing anything Star Wars," end quote. And here she is making a Star Wars game with her new company, Skydance New Media. But yeah, the question mark right there is, what is that game going to be? The quote that I found on the article said, "In collaboration with Lucasfilm Games to develop and produce a richly cinematic action-adventure game featuring an original story in the legendary Star Wars galaxy." Boy, doesn't 1313 fit right into there?
It does, and I'm already intrigued just by that little synopsis they gave us.
Yeah. I'm intrigued even if it's not 1313. Give me fresh Star Wars in the universe. I am on board.
Hopefully it's like a little bit of a play on the Star Wars Legends.
You're going to have to explain what that means, because I don't even know.
Okay, so the Star Wars expanded universe, like all the books and everything that was written before Disney bought them out, were subsequently axed from canon and made Star Wars Legends.
Oh, okay.
So things like Mara Jade, Star Wars.
Is that the one Zach was talking about a couple weeks ago?
That was her.
Okay.
So, yes, Zach and I are very much for a Mara Jade thing.
What about, is Dash Rendar included in that?
That would be a legend.
It is a legend? Okay. What about, what's his name? This Unleashed guy. I can't remember his name.
Starkiller?
It was Starkiller? Because
Starkiller, the original name for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. And then they named the base Starkiller in episode 7.
Yeah, which is funny because in the books there was also a ship called the Starkiller.
Oh, okay.
All legends.
I would love to see a brand new from the ground up retelling of Dash Rendar's story, Shadow of the Empire, because that was a cool story.
I would just love Shadow of the Empire, period, because it's one of the best written pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I would also love Force Unleashed to get the Fallen Order treatment.
Oh man, that's a tall order. Holy
I
cow.
don't care how tall that order is. Ooh. It is the best.
Man, plus, I haven't played that game since release.
I never got to play it, but I always remember Sam Witwer is Starkiller.
Mm-hmm.
Someone needs to contact Sam Witwer and see if he can work his magic.
Well, I mean, it is getting released on Switch.
Yeah, it is.
True.
And it's still pretty.
Man, I would like to play through that game again. It's been a while. That moment when you like take down a Star Destroyer using the Force was a pretty glorious moment. Or just like collapsing TIE fighters like they were, aluminum cans.
Well, I mean, they are.
Yeah, but it was really cool. It was still cool. And that whole ending mission in the Death Star, and I just like that story. It was really cool. I don't know why that was like not allowed to be canon, because I thought that was a cool story.
Well, because Disney and Kathleen Kennedy like to do their own thing, and now that's being retroactively walked backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
But I actually think Amy Hennig's writing style would highly benefit Star Wars.
Oh man, I didn't even think about it from that aspect. I know that, she's not doing the development. She's probably heading it up and doing the writing, which is where that would shine. Yeah, it just gets me very, very excited about the possibility of that. And a lot of people are like tired of Star Wars. I am not one of those people.
I'm not either.
Give me more Star Wars. I'm excited for the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm excited for Obi-Wan coming up. I didn't
hate the second season of Mandalorian like some people did.
Oh, I loved it.
I didn't like Boba Fett as much. I was enjoying it, but I didn't love it.
Boba Fett in the second part of the season when it essentially became the Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's when
Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah, that made Boba Fett fans really angry because was one of the most interesting characters in the universe in terms of mystery, and then they made him not as interesting as their other character. But
let's put it this way: I would love to see Amy Hennig's take on the rebuilding of the Jedi Temple and the Young Jedi saga. So you have like Jaden and Jace, Han's children, and Chewbacca's kid, or even
the one from the Christmas special.
No, that thing doesn't exist anywhere. Don't talk about it. It's like Bruno.
Oh man, have you seen
now
that?
That song's in my head. I have seen the Christmas special.
I suffered. It was
atrocious, but it's so atrocious it's entertaining.
Oh my goodness!
Or for those who know the gravity of the book, Amy Hennig to do Star Wars Vector Prime.
I have no idea what that means. I need to go back and read some more Star Wars books.
I haven't read the books.
If you read Vector Prime, be prepared to cry.
Yeah. Because
they kill off a fan-loved character.
Well, don't. Man, you just love to spoil stuff without spoiling stuff, don't you?
You will. I'm not going to tell you who it is because you will never see it coming.
All right.
So.
Well, I think we're all excited about whatever that game is going to be. But CB, which story would you like to discuss?
You know what? We'll talk about price changes.
Okay.
I don't care.
I care because I'm not wealthy.
True, but at the same time, for the value that you're getting,
it still feels like the best value in gaming, even after this. Even though it's not confirmed, it still just seems like a stupid good deal.
Even if it's only going up $5, I'm okay with it because I'm loving the social media. It's like, oh my god, Microsoft's ripping us all off. I'm like, no, they're not. Like,
yeah,
it's an inflation price check. Congrats.
I mean, how long has Game Pass been out? It's got to be like a year and a half, 2 years?
Longer than that.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I was going to say about 3 or so.
It's been around a while.
And I mean, the people that are complaining about it are saying like, well, if you look at it percentage-wise, an extra $5 on top of 15, that's an extra 25% rate increase, when our inflation is
33rd% increase. If it's 15, it goes up 5.
Yeah, I teach math. I don't practice it. So it's currently $15 a month. The rumor is it's going to increase by 5. Game Pass, regular, not Ultimate, would go from 10 to 15, and then Xbox Live Gold would go from 5 to 15. But yeah, Game Pass Ultimate $15 to $20. It's not confirmed by Microsoft, but it is a reputable source that is talking about this. So yeah.
Okay.
I mean, how many years did you have stacked up of Game Pass when you bought it like super cheap?
Still not caught up. So I'm still good for some time.
Yeah.
But look at it this way. So say it's $20 a month. That's the equivalent of buying 4 AAA titles a year.
Yeah.
It's true.
And wouldn't you know it? They're giving you that for free with it.
Plus, you're still getting the live service. You're still getting the games with gold. You know what I mean? There's
like you get 2 free games a month. Okay, even 4. If they're not everybody downloads all the 360 ones.
Yeah, and to be clear, I know I'm like padding the quality of this product. I haven't played a Games with Gold game in probably 6 months or more.
Yeah. I haven't.
But let's look at it this way: if the four free games you get a month, like let's say you went all the way to Ultimate, so you get the 4 free games a month. Let's say they're all trash for 12 months, even at $1.25 a piece. That's $5. Cool, whatever. So the extra $15, I'm like, okay, if you put out 1 AAA title on this every quarter, it's more than paying for itself. And the fact that Starfield, MLB The Show 2022, like those two together right there, I'm okay with that price.
Plus, there's a whole bunch of stuff we still haven't seen.
Not to mention all the other random ass games that they keep throwing on there every other month.
Oh man, Nobody Saves the World that I talked about last month. That's a great little game. Didn't have to pay for it. What's the game you just played? Memoir Blue?
Yeah.
You really dug that one, even if it was a short game, but wasn't it nice just to, download that instead of have to wonder if you should pay $15 for it?
It was actually only an $8 game, but still, I mean,
oh, was it?
Save $8.
Yeah.
I actually I'm more or less looking at Game Pass anymore like a better Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and that's a whole other story too, because Netflix increased their prices and they're cracking down on password sharing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Microsoft is now talking about adding a family plan, which I think we talked about last week.
Yeah.
But for me, Game Pass, I'm looking at it essentially like it's Netflix, because Netflix has trash on there that I'm never going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Game Pass has games that I'm never going to play, but they're there if I ever felt like it.
Yeah.
And they keep throwing, the fact that they're constantly rotating in new product and rotating out old product, it feels like a legitimately good streaming service, and I'm okay with it. I would actually cut out Hulu and Netflix before I would cut out Game Pass.
Yeah.
Because there's more entertainment value.
Plus, I'm finding more quality stuff outside of Hulu and Netflix. I feel like Hulu and Netflix are my fallback when there's nothing specific I want to watch on one of the other premium services.
HBO Max is where it's at.
HBO Max, Apple TV, even Disney once in a while. Disney's kind of like my fallback if I just want to watch a Marvel movie or something. But
yeah, or Star Wars.
Or Star Wars. Yeah, I actually watched 2 Star Wars movies yesterday. So, yeah, I'm not mad at this. Again, we're Xbox fans, but not Xbox fanboys.
I'm still saying, I still tell everyone this. If PlayStation made the exact same product and charged the exact same price, I would pay for it too.
Yep, same here. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, Nintendo kind of does. It's just not as good.
Oh, they're not getting nearly as much new stuff. Which wasn't it Kevin that brought up when we got together last week that Nintendo Switch Online keeps adding games to the NES library and the SNES library and the N64 library,
for Sega.
But nothing for Sega. Which if I were a Sega fan like he was, I'd be pretty bummed about that because there's still plenty of library in that.
Yeah.
So.
Well over 1,000 games.
Yeah, kind of crazy. Anyway, I want to talk real quickly about this. Almost feels like a non-story, but Horizon Forbidden West officially is going to be getting, well, not officially. They're talking about a third game. If you've played that game, you knew a third game was coming if you finished it. So
yeah,
Aloy's story does not feel done by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't mean that from a cliffhanger standpoint. It just feels like there's more to be told. So the director was quoted to say, "The game ends with another big cliffhanger where we're setting up some things for the next game once again." And I just contradicted myself. Was it a cliffhanger though? I don't really think of it as a.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'll let you guys
it definitely had a way to go, but it wasn't like a. When I think cliffhanger, I think leave you on the edge of your seat. What's going to happen in the next moment? That was okay, I see where you're going for the next game.
I mean, I kind of was.
All right, we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk when Alyssa's not listening.
Yeah, I don't want anything spoiled.
But what's interesting is, how we talked about Horizon Zero Dawn, being released right before or right after. I can never remember which one came out first.
Elden
I think it was.
Ring?
Well, no, that's Forbidden West. But Zero Dawn came out right before Breath of the Wild. And I was like, man, they had to have hurt that sales. They just passed 20 million sales of that game in February. So
what's Zero Dawn?
What did I say? Is that
so
what I mean,
said? the fact that Horizon Zero Dawn has 20 million in sales as of February, so it probably got a big boost from Forbidden West.
Probably. There's no sales data yet for Forbidden West to know how well that game is doing, but a lot of people are playing it. A lot of people are praising it. Unfortunately, it just got overshadowed by the
gargantuan monster that is Elden Ring.
It was like a phenomenon. It was like the game everybody was talking about and everybody was streaming. So I'm really curious to see what those sales are because, I mean, it's I'd be shocked if they got 5 million sales, but I don't know. We'll have to see. The other thing I wanted to mention was this trailer. I don't know if it's not a trailer. It's a gameplay. It's like 15-minute trailer for Metroid Prime. Somebody's playing on PC, but in the opening menu screen, they have a choice between Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, or Metroid Prime 3, which I can't remember the subheading or the subtitle of Metroid Prime 3. I'm a terrible Metroid fan.
Hunters?
No, Hunters was the DS one. I'm a terrible person. I can't remember what it was called. But I didn't watch the entire thing, but I scrolled through this thing, and if you have not seen it, watch this video because it looks sharp. You know how like you see a remastered video of a game and you think that's how I remember it looking? This thing looks way better than I remember it looking. And I would love to get back into and play this game. The interesting thing, I don't know how much of this you guys watched, but when whoever was playing started playing Metroid Prime 1, the original, it actually still put up the message from the Wii that said, oh, it wouldn't have been on the Wii. That game was originally on the GameCube, but it had a message that said nunchuck required.
I saw that, yeah.
Which means, because you needed the nunchuck to play the third one on the Wii, or the second one, I don't know. Well, that's interesting to me.
Remember, you could play GameCube games on the Wii.
There you go. Okay. So it was basically an up-res Wii emulator? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but the menu did not look like a highly polished, Nintendo menu in terms of like which game do you want to play? Because we've played the Mario one and things like that where they've got a lot more going on. So this by no means feels like a finished product, but just the possibility of those games looking that good and going through and playing those games again, man.
I mean,
bring that to Switch for me.
Honestly, it's probably a fan-made thing. But
if so, I know that has nothing to do with it actually coming to Switch, but it makes me hopeful.
I love Nintendo, but we argue about this all the time. They have so many properties and so many things that they should have ported, but they keep porting the dumb ones.
Like,
Wonderful 101.
I heard. I can't speak ill of that game. I've not played it.
It's a good game, but
Skyward Sword is the one that comes to mind for me.
There's another, there are so many other things. It's like, why haven't you ported the good things? You owned them, but you don't do the things.
Right. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. That's not really news by any stretch of the imagination, but I had to talk to somebody about it. I don't know if you guys are Metroid Prime
Clark
fans,
hype news.
I mean, I'd like to play it since I never have, so it'd be awesome if they did release something like that.
They just did a really great job of transferring the Metroid formula to 3D, to like a first-person type game that I never thought would work that well, and they really did a good job. I mean, I was geeking out in my 20s when that came out and recognizing enemies that I fought in 2D and seeing them in 3D for the first time and just having a lot of fun. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, that's the week's news. Want to remind everybody about our Patreon. If you'd like to help contribute, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. We would appreciate you doing so because it allows us to keep this show running each week. And it also gives us the opportunity to pick up some games to review and then in turn give them back to the community. And on top of that, to thank you for doing that, we will give you some bonus content. At the $3 tier, we give you an extra episode each month. At the $5 tier, we get you 2 bonus episodes. So we got lots of content for you, including all our back catalog that you can check out. If you want to hear some legacy episodes, some games that aren't for us, we've got Break the Seal episodes where we make somebody play a popular franchise that they've never touched before. Speaking of, CB, what can people download right now and check out if they wanted to?
Oh, Star Fox Adventures on Dinosaur Planet for the GameCube, where we take a look back at that wonderful gem that Scott loves so much.
I didn't hate it this time around as much as I did when I was a kid.
Our Uncharted movie spoiler cast, Desert Island Games with Mark Szymanski. Upcoming, we have our Break the Seal on Max Payne 1 and 2. Those wonderful, soon-to-be remastered games. Desert Island Games with YouTuber Snugboy. And then the Scott Clark Rip Fest, that will be the Sonic 2 movie spoiler cast.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be on that episode, actually. I believe we're inviting Kevin Honigford for that one. He's our resident Sonic the Hedgehog aficionado. So it's going to be him, CB, and Zach, because you guys will have all seen the movie.
Me. Might give him some adult beverages and listen to him rant about Sega.
Oh, man. Kevin with a couple drinks in him is a good time. As long as you get the thick skin.
Yeah.
It's a good time. So if any of those sound interesting to you, or you just want to help us out, maybe throw a buck at us, get the episode a day early, head over to patreon.com/thegocast, and we do appreciate the help. Let's go ahead now and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, unfortunately, Zach could not join us again this week. Hopefully, we'll have him back next week. So I'm going to read the new games that you can go purchase right now. First off, Winter Ember comes to PS5, PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC on April 19th. Boy, he gives me these ones that I'm not going to pronounce correctly.
I can pronounce the Japanese ones if you want me to.
All right, go for it. What's the second one?
The second one is Neptunia X Shinran Kagura Ninja Wars, which comes to Switch on April 20th.
All right. Postal 4, No Regrets.
I love that.
Yes, I did regrets. It comes to PC on April 20th. Star Wars The Force Unleashed, which CB just talked about, is getting ported to Switch. That releases on April 20th as well. Liberated, I believe that's the comic book looking adventure. PS4, Series X and S, Xbox One on April 20th. Myth Force comes to PC on April 20th. Glover on PC. Is that like the original
that
platformer?
That is the N64 Glover. So again,
holy cow.
Nintendo porting the weird ones.
Porting Glover to PC.
Yeah, of all things.
Why not put that one on Nintendo Switch Online? Or at all, I guess. That one comes to PC April 20th. Teardown comes to PC on April 21st. MotoGP 22, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on April 21st. Chernobylite, which Sean reviewed for us back on Xbox One, is getting a PS5 and Series X and S port on April 21st. All right, Alyssa, you're up on this one.
Next up is Ganryu 2 Hakuma Kojiro, which is coming to PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on April 22nd. And lastly, there is Makoko X coming to Xbox One on April 22nd.
All right. Are you familiar with those titles?
I am not, but they sound intriguing. I have looked up Neptunia X Shinran Kagura, and the trailer does not have a lot of fan service, but I would not be surprised if this is a fan servicey game.
All the waifus.
I love that Alyssa has no idea what these games are, but they sound intriguing because they sound very Japanese.
I know.
Well, I mean, you should know Neptunia, the Neptunia game, Scott.
Wait, is that Kagura? Is that the
Senran Kagura?
Oh man, so that's going to be a dirty game.
That's what I was saying, the fan service.
Fan service games. Get it right.
Okay. All right. You guys going to check out any of these?
Fan service games.
Oh, okay, so CB is going to perv out with Neptunia X Senran Kagura Ninja Wars on Switch.
Well, that and Star Wars The Force Unleashed.
That's the one I was going to say. I would love to play through that game again. That one, I feel like I don't want to play in handheld mode, though. I want to play that one on my TV.
I don't care.
You don't care?
I'm just there for... Can you imagine if they had motion controls for the lightsabers?
Oh
my god.
That sounds like a miserable experience to me.
Shut up. I don't care. I want to do it.
You have to hold the Joy-Con backwards, like Starkiller does. You know how he holds the lightsabers like behind him?
Yeah.
There's a reverse grip.
I would still do it.
I'm just picturing CB like jogging in place.
Yeah.
What about you, Alyssa? Which Japanese game are you going to check out?
I'm not sure which one yet because I have no idea what they are. I will look into them, but I am very intrigued to play Star Wars The Force Unleashed since I have never played it.
Oh, if you like Star Wars, that's a pretty fun
I love
story.
Star Wars.
You get some origin stuff actually that made me bummed that it wasn't part of canon. So
it needs to be.
It needs to be told. Is that what you're going to say?
It just needs to be canon again, man.
I don't understand why it wasn't. That was a pretty cool.
Because
Disney.
Cool take.
Yeah, whatever.
So, Scott and CB, you're both playing Blast Brigade, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Attempting.
So, I watched the trailer, and it looks super cute and colorful and full of humor, and it's I was going to say Metroidvania type of game, but Zach is cursing me right now.
Yeah,
for that.
Much.
So, is it like it appears in the trailer?
Yeah, very much. It's a gear-gated game. We'll say that for Zach's benefit.
Or Scott likes to say
it's not 2D.
Gear-gated.
I did not say 2D.
It is 2D, isn't it?
It is 2D, but I did not call it a 2D gear-gated adventure. I just called it a gear-gated game because I know he's listening. He actually does go back and listen. So.
Oh, he's mad at all of us right now.
No, he's mad at you. I said gear-gated game.
No, he's mad at me because he knows I will troll with the 2D gear-gated game.
But yes, this is a gear-gated game or Metroidvania, whatever you want to call it. Like you said, very bright, colorful, and has a huge sense of humor. And I'm finding this game deceptively difficult because at the early stages of this game, it's quite easy. It feels like it's going through the motions. And once you get into it and get deeper and deeper into it, the game hits a weird difficulty spike. And it's mostly with its bosses because the bosses feel very... I think the way CB was describing it, kind of like old school NES pattern recognition bosses. But in my opinion, I just wish that those bosses, HP meters or whatever you want to call it, their energy bars, were about 2/3 the size. Because after a while, it just starts to feel really, really grindy. But
no.
You have beaten one boss, man.
That
first
know.
boss is cake.
But playing through that first boss, I'm like, okay, recognize the pattern. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I bet at the 1/3 health mark, there's going to be a pattern shift.
Yep. And that's exactly what they do.
Sure enough, there was.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, these bosses feel very much like die the first attempt just to learn the pattern and then go back and beat it on your very next try. I found I was doing that with a lot of these bosses. As I'm getting later in the game, though, they are getting more difficult and more interesting. They do these, they do clever environmental things with the bosses that I haven't seen in a game like this in a long time, where you're not just shooting and doing all that. It's really cool. I like the upgrades. The upgrades feel kind of interesting. You have what they call a PDA, which is it's basically like a watch. Reminds me of the watch from GoldenEye. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I do not, because I have not seen that movie.
Oh, well, I mean, it was more prominent in the game.
Or played the game. I haven't played the game either.
It was the pause menu, like he pulls up his watch and that's your pause menu. But it's an interesting way to do upgrades because you have like a string of different abilities, like, to magnet in all the pickups or, to make your weapons fire at, an extra 20% rate of fire or something like that. But in order, so you've got like 6 or 7 different lines, but you only have a limited number of batteries that can only power up one line. So you have to choose which line you want to choose and then actually go in there and individually activate the ones that you want to do. The frustrating I found there is that they don't really tell you that you have to go individually turn on each one. So I was just turning on the battery to turn on the line, and I just assumed it was powering it all up. But no, and I was like, man, my gun doesn't feel like it's firing any faster. And it took me about, a third of the way through the game to go in and actually turn those things on. So I don't know if that was me being dumb or it just wasn't explained. I'm really, really enjoying this game, though. What about you, CB?
I'm liking it so far, but I will say it does not do the best job of explaining some of its mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
It is cute. The humor is dumb. I mean, come on, the guy's name is Jeff Jefferson. I just saw that and I'm like, really? We're going there?
They make a funny joke referencing that later on in the game. That's pretty funny.
But it's cute. He almost feels like the like a lucky spy. Like just
I can see that.
He's dumb, but just happens to stumble his way through things.
Like a more sarcastic Inspector Gadget.
That's what I was thinking, Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it. Inspector Gadget without the actual gadgets.
And very America. Like he's very
straight up America.
Yeah, but not in an unlikable way. It's just kind of it's just kind of tongue in cheek. It's pretty funny.
I mean, come on, your save point is a hammock.
Yeah. He just takes a nap. That's great. Did you get any additional characters?
Not yet, but I've seen one of them.
Okay. You've been introduced to the female
captain.
Character?
Yeah.
No, she's actually not a playable character. She is just at your home base. So you will actually meet the other playable characters. And what's really cool is they do the thing where once you unlock characters, you can actually swap them on the fly. And they actually try to explain how they're doing that with like science, which is kind of funny. But you can switch between those characters whenever you want to. They have the same weapon, same like primary weapon and secondary weapons, but they have like a special ability. Like Jefferson is able to lob grenades, which must be used to break apart certain walls. Very much in a gear gated type situation. And the secondary character is a Russian spy that has a grappling hook. So if you come across these rings that you have to use to grapple, you'll have to switch back and forth between her. Okay. That's really cool. I unlocked a third character, which has like I don't know, he's got like this magnetic ability. So you find these, what do you call them? It's almost like a line of electricity that you grapple onto one end, and then he magnets his way across. So it's just fun that's the gear gated aspect of it, because when you're going through the early stages of the game, you see, I can't get there because I'm missing something, and then you want to remember where it is and come back to it. And that's where I think the game does something really interesting with this formula, the gear gated, because a lot of people don't like backtracking, or they don't like these type of games because of the backtracking. Mm-hmm. But what I think this game does very smartly is when you get to the newer stages, it gets difficult. Even like the normal traversal gets difficult. So I just kind of hit a wall where I actually got stuck because I couldn't figure out where to go next. And so I decided to take a break and go back and try to uncover all this stuff, and wound up unlocking some things that just made the later parts of the game so much easier. So it actually is really, really beneficial to go back and collect those things, and not just in I got more missile packs or more energy tanks type of way. There are things that you get that actually feel very meaningful, and not in a dumb skill tree kind of way. So I really do appreciate that. So I hope you stick with it, CB.
Oh, I will,
because it gets really interesting, and some of the platforming, dude, gets intense, and you really get into situations because it feels really easy early on in the game. I was like, oh, I'm just going to breeze through this game. I played through the first 6 hours, no problem, and then started hitting a wall and started hitting a where do I go next situation, which I wasn't experiencing at the beginning because it felt like it was going at a really good pace. And then I started hitting a wall, and some things just aren't explained. Kind of like how I talked about some of the mechanics weren't explained. But this is more like how to manipulate the environment. There's nothing telling you. You just kind of have to really pay attention and see what they're doing. Like I came across this place where there are these lasers, and you have to position the lasers in order to power up this thing to open up a door. And there's actually 2 of them, but it's never blatantly obvious that's what you have to do. I just kept staring at it and going back to it, and accidentally stumbled across what I was doing, and that felt a little frustrating, but nowhere near enough to keep me from playing the game. It's the one I wish I were playing it right now. It's a blast. It puts a smile on my face. So I'm playing that on Xbox. It is also available on PlayStation and Switch. It actually has been on PC for a while, at least in early access on PC, but it just released this last week. And if you like this style of game, I think this one does enough different to make it fresh and exciting, at least for me. So Blast Brigade, I am giving it a huge thumbs up. Loving that game. CB, what about you? I am intrigued by this Battle Kid and the Fortress of Peril, which is a game that I described as Wish.com Mega Man, and I don't mean that disparagingly, because it looks so much like Mega Man but it looks so much different from Mega Man at the same time. Can you explain to everybody what this is?
Well, I mean, you'd be right. It is Wish.com Mega Man.
Okay.
But so this game, believe it or not, actually started life as an original Nintendo game.
Sold. I love it. It looks like it.
It was a after the fact release.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, I want to say it was Retro Zone USB made this game, Battle Kid and the Fortress Peril, and it's like 3 games actually.
Oh, really? Is this the first one?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was essentially a love letter to, because this was that like weird time, like after like when Mega Man became like 3D adventures and things like that.
Like in the PlayStation?
Yeah, like PlayStation, Sega Saturn era, where Mega Man made the shift away from being how it originally started. And so this guy's like, well, I wanted to make more old school, like Mega Man style games. So this is Battle Kid. And it's a weird story.
Okay, why is it weird?
Because you're a child.
Well, I mean, Mega Man was a child.
But you just happen to be a well, no, Mega Man was a robot.
Right. Yeah, I guess it was called Mega Man, not Mega Boy.
Yeah. But he was still a robot.
Yeah.
This you're a legitimate child who just happens to be visiting a friend who works in a science laboratory.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. But
I mean, that doesn't sound too weird.
Somebody breaks in and steals a suit, and you offer to help, and they put you in a suit and give you a ship, and you have to chase down this person whose name is Chester.
Oh, I'm sold. Wait, you're playing as a child, and you're chasing after a guy named Chester?
Yeah. Some random guy just gets you a boat.
I was about to say, I already know where you're going with this, Scott.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, bro, like this is it's legitimately weird. But the like all the cutscenes are the like 2 faces talking to each other with like text underneath.
Yeah.
But they're drawn in the style of like anime.
Okay,
that
but in
like
8-bit graphics?
Yeah. But like how like you could make Mega Man's face.
Sure.
Everything. So it's just bizarre, but it is very budget Mega Man.
All right. I mean, does it still play like Mega Man? It looks like are there Mega 8 Man robot bosses, or is it just
Mega Man
regular
with
status?
A difficulty curve? Like,
whoa, more difficult than Mega Man?
Yeah, because this was made on a budget.
Okay.
So, I know you and I have talked about this before, where like Mega Man has like that little bit of semi-adjustment in in a jump.
Right.
Like you have your nice arc, you can adjust. No, this is like you jump, you committed to this jump.
Oh, so you jump and you can't like, come back on it or whatever?
Yeah, you come back on this, you screwed up. You screwed up hard.
I'm intrigued though, man. I'm real intrigued.
But like when the jump ends, like you always seem to be like 3 blocks above where the jump ends, and it's just like straight line down.
So like heavy gravity, or is it just supposed to be more like a more realistic jump? Like
I think it's more just heavy gravity because I haven't unlocked everything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, like, once you unlock more, if it gives you like that little extra.
So I mean, how is the game structured? Is it
traverse the level, unlock things?
I mean, but like, do you get to choose the stages like in a Mega Man game? Are there 8 robot bosses and you absorb their powers?
I think it's pretty much just linear.
Okay.
Because I've beat the first boss today.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't give me like a hub and spoke. It was just, okay, next area.
Next stage. Okay.
But there was a branching path. And I went one way.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, depending on whether you choose this path or this path. So I'm kind of exploring this game because I never played the NES version.
Yeah, I know. These are terrible platformers.
Well, no, it's hard to find. Because the company that made it, they only made so many.
Oh, you mean you didn't play the actual cartridge?
No, like
this game. I thought you meant of Mega Man.
No, I've played Mega Man. I'm just not good at it. But this one I'm okay at.
I know, that's like the one thing I can lord over you is that I'm better at platformers than you. That's it.
You're better at certain platformers.
Certain platformers. Super Meat Boy.
Because I could whomp on you pretty hard in Adventure Island.
Well, yeah, because that's more of a memorization one instead of a reaction one.
It's still a platformer.
Yeah, you're right. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm curious. Like I've been wanting to play this one for a while. So the fact that like of all places this wound up on Xbox,
it did seem like a weird choice.
Yeah, like I saw because when you told me, they're like, "Hey, Battle Kid and the Fortress of Peril." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like that is somehow on Xbox?" I'm like, "This was a third party after the fact Nintendo game from like 2005."
Does that give you hope that there might be more of these homebrew type of things coming to Xbox?
Well, I mean, over time, more of them have been showing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the fact that some of these indie developers are finally getting their time in the light with these games, like, but it worries me because, like, how far are we gonna go? Like, is Cheetah 2 gonna show up on the Xbox one day?
I mean, that wasn't a good game, though, right?
True, but some of these are not great games.
Yeah, but I mean, this one's playable, right? This is a good...
Cheetah 2 is playable. It's just not great.
It's not fun. When I mean playable, I mean fun.
But we have hit that weird point in time where, like, Double Dragon, Ninja Gaiden, like, and like NES game, like Contra, even like NES games, like big NES games, are showing up on Xbox of all places.
Mm-hmm. Some of them are in collections that are on other platforms, but yeah, like the Double Dragon one I think was only on Xbox. Double Dragon and
River City Ransom, Super Dodgeball, the Castlevania trilogy.
The original trilogy, I thought that was just on the collection.
The original trilogy is on Xbox, bro. I promise you.
Is it? Okay.
So, like, but these games are showing up, and it makes me happy being somebody who's such a big fan of video game preservation that these games are showing up for, like, a younger generation to be like, it's your turn to smash your face into the wall.
They're not playing these games.
But some people are. Like, there are some younger kids that are. But it's usually the kids of people. It's the kids of people like me, where we grew up on this, and we're trying to impart like the knowledge on them. Like, hey, you want to see what I had to play when I was growing up? Here you go.
You're gonna play this, and you're gonna like it.
Get good.
Yeah. You want the definition of get good, scrub? Come play Contra, 3 lives only.
And then tell them after like 15 hours, like, by the way, there's this cool thing called the Konami code.
There's a meme actually floating around the internet. It was like, hey, my kids want me to buy them a PS5, so I put them in front of Contra and said, if you could beat this game on 3 lives, I will buy you a PS5.
That's a good call. I saw someone do something similar with Battletoads, but that doesn't seem fair.
I actually wondered, because like how they hide the original games, I wonder if they hid the Battletoads game in the new Battletoads.
Oh, I mean, Battletoads, the original game was on the Rare Replay, so probably not.
That's true.
I mean, that was the arcade game, but still.
Yeah. Just watch any kid play the hover bike level.
Man,
just like, here you go. You beat this.
The number of times I tried to do that as a kid, I did eventually get through it and got good at it, but by the time you get past that and then you get to like the ice level, it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah, you're like, no, I hate this game. I
made it to the snake level once, and I was done. So anyway, Battle Kid and the Fortress of Peril, are you recommending it?
Well, it's like, I think it's $9.99.
That's pretty good.
So I mean, it's, if you want to scratch that NES like nostalgia itch, go for it.
Okay.
But just know that you're in for a difficult game.
Challenge accepted. I told Owens about this one. Owens is the biggest Mega Man guy I know, and sent him the trailer. He seemed intrigued.
Yeah.
That price should be good too. So, all right, man. Well, thanks for checking that one out. Want to remind everybody really quickly about our social media presence. If you'd like to join our Facebook group, the address is facebook.com/groups/thegocast. We don't have any new members over there, but please join us. We'd love to chat with you. And also you can find all the news updates we do, all the episodes, everything like that. Also, our Discord is getting some new members. If you'd like to join the community there, the link is in the show notes. Would like to welcome 2 new members, Hannah Banana and Skullkill67. Welcome to the community. And also, drop us a review if you get a chance. We really do appreciate it. It helps us get the word out about the Gaming Outsider. And then lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. That's where you can find all of our episodes and all of our written content as well, including quite a few reviews that released this week. You got my reviews of Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, also Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Joel graced us with a review on Bush Hockey League on Switch. Kevin reviewed Kung Fu Kickball. I believe he played that on PC.
I think so.
It was PC. And Alyssa played Vengeful Heart, which got a Switch release. Is that right?
It also was released on PlayStation and Xbox, I believe.
All right. And CB got his review of The Company Man, which is a game I still need to play. That
Yes,
just
you
seems like a lot of fun. But again, that website is thegamingoutsider.com. We'd love it if you check it out. But let's now go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. All right, this past weekend was Easter for those that celebrate, and it seemed like a good time to talk about Easter eggs. I'm honestly not sure how we've never talked about this topic before. No, I'm not talking about those little plastic ones that your kids look for in the yard. I'm talking about hidden messages, pictures, or homages buried somewhere within games to reward players for looking thoroughly. There are lots of fun ones. I had a good time kind of going through and reminiscing about some of the ones that I found and actually learning about ones that I had never actually seen, but the ones on my list, I will say, are ones that I actually experienced, so I didn't cheat. But CB, I want to start with you. You always have a plethora of comments and things to share. What are some of your favorite Easter eggs over the years?
Well, first off, what a topic, sir.
Yeah?
This is like one of my favorite things to discuss in video games.
How have we never done this in almost 400 episodes?
I don't know. So I actually think that we could make an entire Patreon episode on this too.
Oh, okay.
Well, first off, I have to give mad props to the OG with Warren Robinette in Adventure. Like
that was on my list as well, man.
The first Easter egg have to give it a little love.
Give it a little backstory, because some people, I know we're all video game nerds here, and most of us know, but some people aren't familiar with that story.
So Warren Robinette, one of the original designers of the game Adventure, so back in the Atari days, you were not allowed to take credit for your game.
And there was no credits because the games were so small. There wasn't like you didn't roll credits on an Atari game.
No, you didn't. So as a way of doing this, he hid his name in the game.
Animated, by the way.
Yes. Lots of seizure-inducing flashy things. But how he did this was you had to find a secret key, an invisible secret key hidden in a room, and then backtrack it all the way to the beginning of the game, which would then unlock another room that you could go in, and it would show his name.
Mm-hmm.
So
this was a big deal because apparently this whole thing took up something like 5% of the cartridge space for this game. So it was a ballsy move. And apparently Atari found out about it, but they found out about it too late. They had already produced so many cartridges that it was going to be too expensive to remove the code and then go reprint or
repress all the stuff.
Was it considered pressing?
Well, yeah, the original Atari boards.
Oh, when I think of pressing, I think of discs. So I didn't think of. But so they just kept it in there. And it was literally the first ever Easter egg. Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for some fun ones?
All right. Hopefully you didn't steal any more of mine.
Okay, so Diablo 2, the cow level.
The cow level.
So
there's a story behind that one too.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact story, but all I know is it was the greatest joke to play on your friends.
Well, it was like a huge rumor. It was kind of like the remember the rumor when we were kids about Mario and there being like a secret negative world, which wound up actually being true.
Yeah.
Or just like those weird rumors you heard when you were kids about like if you do this and do this, you can make this happen, and most of them were never true. Well, there was a massive rumor floating around in the PC circuits that there was a secret level in the original Diablo that was like the cow level.
Yep.
And it was never true. It was just like this heavy rumor that a lot of people try to convince other people of its existence, and it never happened. And then what happened in Diablo 2?
So they made I can't remember exactly how to do this. Like if you put the game for me, I could probably still do it. But you were portaled into a level with giant mutant walking cows that would just wreck you.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of these things, to the fact that it would crash some computers.
Mm-hmm. There's just like lots and lots of them.
Yes.
And wasn't there like in Diablo 3?
There is an homage to it in Diablo 3, but it is not cows.
I don't remember. I remember something about like, I remember reading somewhere like there is no cow level. Like that was just like
there is no cow level, but there is a level.
It was something with rainbows and stuff.
Oh, no. It's not rainbows. It's My Little Ponies.
My Little Ponies.
It's rainbow unicorns.
Rainbow. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, like I love that one. So moving on, one of my favorite is Bethesda, and Bethesda hides so many.
Okay.
So a couple of my favorite ones, all come from Fallout 4. You have Jack and Rose from Titanic.
I don't remember seeing that.
There are two bodies in Far Harbor that are laying on a door in the water.
Okay.
Also in Fallout 4, you have a tugboat that is half sunk in the water with a great white shark on the back
Jaws.
And a body in its mouth.
Nice.
There's a half-hidden body in a wall that's been uncovered, and it is a nod to Edgar Allan Poe, The Cask of Amontillado.
All right. I don't know that reference, but...
Ooh, great story, by the way. Short story, but really good story.
It is a good story.
Todd Howard makes an appearance in Fallout 4 as a Paul Revere riding a horse.
Really?
Oh, yeah. One of the pictures. So if you go into the Boston Museum, there is a painting on a wall of Paul Revere on a horse. But if you look at the face, it is Todd Howard.
Oh, that's funny. Man, I love Fallout 4. I don't know why that game got so much hate outside of the building. I love that game.
Oh, dude, Fallout 4 is... Well, all the Fallout games. There are a ton of them.
Mm-hmm.
So moving away from the Fallout universe, though, one of another Rockstar is also infamous for theirs.
Mm-hmm.
But in Red Dead Redemption 2, there's a South Park reference.
What?
I don't remember that one.
Man Bear Pig.
Oh, yeah, you could find...
Oh, it was an actual creature, right?
There is Man Bear Pig in Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh, my goodness. I think I remember reading about that now that you say that, but I would not have thought of that one in a million years.
Yeah. So, like, there's so many in Red Dead 2. Well, Red Dead and Red Dead 2.
See, my introduction to Man Bear Pig was in Stick of Truth. I had never watched the show, so I'm like, what is going on with Man Bear Pig? What is this thing? I had no clue. That game is a little weird if you did not watch the show.
Yes.
That was a lot weird if you did not watch the show. Especially with Randy's dad.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Man. So coming to the final two on my list, they actually have a lot of meaning to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know my love for Half-Life 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the zombies in Half-Life 2 have an Easter egg with every single one of them.
Don't they say something backwards?
The groans that they make, if you play them backwards, say, God help me.
I don't know what I've not played it, so I don't know what the actual sound like, but I remember reading.
It's creepy. They sound creepy. But
that's a game I wish I could go back and play, but it's just so hard to play now.
Oh, well, download the Black Mesa Project.
I think I did, and I think it was back when I was having a PC laptop. I don't know if I can on a Mac.
You can on a Mac.
Can I? Okay.
Yes.
I'm just really bad with a mouse and keyboard. I have to get my controller.
Better, Scrub.
I know.
It's one of the best games ever. If you love, honestly, as much as you love Portal and Portal 2, you would love so much of the dumb humor in that game.
Really? I never knew that there was dumb humor. I've never played it. It always looked like a super serious game. Your best friend is named
Barney, and he's a security guard.
Okay, that's not
like just some of the funny things. Just some of the things that come out of his mouth are priceless.
Okay,
I know
there's a crowbar, and the main character doesn't talk.
The crowbar is the greatest weapon of all time.
Oh, and a gravity gun, is that a thing?
Yeah. It's really a thing. And as much as you love the portal gun, the gravity gun will just make your day.
Okay, all right.
And then finally, an Easter egg near and dear to my heart: the space jockeys from Metroid.
Space jockeys from Metroid.
The little, like, I can never. It's because of the sea. The guys that hold like the orbs.
Oh, the Chozo statues?
Yeah, they're modeled after the space jockey.
What's a space jockey?
That's that space jockey from Alien.
I did not know that was from Alien.
So
I wish you guys could see the disappointment in CB's face right now.
I'm so disappointed. So if you actually look at the side profile of the space jockey, which is the alien that's sitting in the ship in the original Alien, if you actually look at it from a side profile, it looks just like the Chozo. Whatever, chorizo.
Chorizo.
I'm thinking of the dog from Far Cry 6.
I know, right?
Oh, he's the best boy. But yeah, if you look at him, like I remember reading somewhere like it was modeled after them.
Interesting.
Because Alien came out in 1977, and Metroid didn't come out till what, like 1986?
That reminds me, I haven't done a rewatch of the original Alien in a while. I think it's time.
4K is where it's at, bro.
Well, you and I watched it in 4K last time. That's the last time I watched it.
I know. It's time to watch it again.
It is time.
It's time for my bi-yearly viewing.
We should do a marathon. I can stomach Resurrection. I don't hate it as much as.
I mean, I can stand it. I would actually prefer it over Alien 3.
No, you shut your mouth.
Alien 3 was terrible.
No,
if they would have done it the original way, it would have been better.
I don't know what that means, but I enjoyed Alien 3.
I did as well. Now, Alien Resurrection, different story.
It was more campy.
But
and there were some cringe-worthy lines in that movie, too, with Sigourney Weaver and whatever that ending was.
Yeah.
Ron Perlman kind of saved that movie a little bit. There are some lines. I'd get you off. It's like
I love it. I love his character.
Just so deadpan. Like, I got this. I love that.
But yeah, go online though and look up the original story beats for Alien 3. It was actually a very different movie.
Interesting. All right, Alyssa, I'm dying to hear what your Easter eggs are.
Okay, the first one is from The Witcher 2 Assassin of Kings, which I don't know if either of you played that one.
A little bit. Not enough to see your Easter
played
egg.
the entire game. I loved it. This is before The Witcher was really popular. And there's a certain part in the game you're just wandering around and you come across a bale of hay and you notice a body that's half in the bale of hay, half out. He's dressed as Altair from the first Assassin's Creed.
Oh, nice.
And if you go and investigate the body, Geralt says they never learn. So presumably Altair did a leap of faith and missed the bale of hay and died.
Or hit the wrong bale of hay and it was a shallower one than he was.
That's true. But you can find Altair in The Witcher 2 if you try hard enough.
Nice. I wonder if stuff like that, because that's a completely different property, and I wonder, at what point are you not doing an homage, but crossing a copyright law? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you're joking and making nods to other companies, a lot of companies are going to be okay with it as long as you're not Tommy Tallarico.
It depends on the company, but yeah, in our litigious society, I could see people getting sue happy.
And also in Uncharted 2, during the Shangri-La level, there's a swimming pool, and most people probably run past it, but if you jump in the swimming pool and swim around, Nathan Drake will start playing Marco Polo by himself, and he says, I believe Marco in a male voice, but Polo, he does a female impersonation. And he'll keep doing it until you get out of the pool. It's just a fun little thing that if you don't know about it, you'll just run past the pool. But if you jump in and swim, he'll play Marco Polo.
Nice. That's funny.
And my last one is in the first Dead Rising, there is a sandwich shop named Jill Sandwiches as an homage to Resident Evil, you know, the classic Jill sandwich line.
I almost made you a Jill sandwich.
So there is a sandwich shop in the mall in Dead Rising titled Jill Sandwiches.
That's really funny. I really want to know the derivation of Marco Polo as a game.
I'm curious about that too.
Like, I just, like, how? Like, why Marco Polo? The only thing I could make a connection is that water polo is a sport that you play in water. But Marco Polo was like an explorer, right? Spanish explorer?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Maybe he was lost all the time. Marco.
Someone's gonna write it and explain it to me, and I'm gonna feel real dumb. But like Marco Polo, what a weird thing! But we all did it. Everybody knows Marco Polo. You cannot find a person that does not know that Marco Polo is a game you play in the pool.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is like you have this famous explorer, but he will always be known as the game you play in the pool.
Yeah. Wouldn't you love to go back to whatever time he's from and be like, "Look, dude, this is gonna happen to your name.
Hey,
you're gonna be."
Yeah. Hey, bro.
I got some good news and I got some bad news.
You're gonna become worldwide renowned.
Yeah, you're gonna be a household name, literally everywhere across at least America. I don't know.
Like, oh wow, did I become that great of an explorer? And I'm like, bro, you're a kid's game that we play in pools. And then just like watching that person's like head unwind, be like, how did I screw up so bad that I became a kid's game in a pool? I'm
gonna look it up now. I just really want to know where that came from. Anyway, my Easter eggs. My first one, you already stole from me. 1979's Adventure. That was that was on my list for sure. But also, I can't really say this one for certain because I don't want to spoil it for the someone that hasn't played the game. But in Dead Space, the original Dead Space, the titles of the chapters.
I already know where you're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The titles of the chapters actually spell out the twist ending, which is something that why would anybody be looking for that going through? But when you know what that sentence is, it's really clever that the reveal isn't until the last word. You know what I mean? I don't know. I thought that was just a really cool Easter egg that I never discovered until well after I had already beaten the game. But that's always been one of my favorites.
Which is even more fun when you think about it, because now you're playing at that extra like fourth wall break.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I cannot wait for that Dead Space remake.
Me too.
I want that so bad. I really can't wait to see how well that game does as well, and like put a quote that says, "First, single player games don't sell." Dead Space sales numbers, boom, and I don't know, something about Visceral making the Will Smith.
You know, somewhere in that game, there's going to be like somewhere in that game, there's going to be an Easter egg that's like "Long live Visceral."
Visceral. Could you imagine what Visceral would be doing right now if they were still around?
Dead Space 5.
Right. Wolfenstein: The New Order had a playable version of Wolfenstein 3D. There was like a level. You remember when you go to sleep or whatever, and you're having a dream?
Yeah.
And you play the original Wolfenstein. That brought back some memories. That was pretty cool. It was a lot harder than I remember too.
Giving us the proper ending villain.
Right. Oh man. Let's see. Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars, which I loved from the Super Nintendo era. But there was a optional boss in that game, and his name was Culex. Culex. And if you watch the video for this boss, it is a very obvious nod to Final Fantasy, which at that time Square was a thing, and Square made this Mario RPG game as well. But it actually had the boss fight music from Final Fantasy 2 or 4, whichever one you want, from whichever continent you're from. And even when you beat that boss, it does the victory music from Final Fantasy. And yep. And then after you beat him, because this is like a character from another dimension, and he's here just to test world's greatest warrior, so he fights Mario. And so you beat him, and then while you're having a conversation with him before he goes back to his own realm, it plays the menu music from Final Fantasy, you know, the the little harp thing at the beginning. So it was very clearly a nod to Final Fantasy, but it was a very difficult boss to find. Well, it wasn't difficult to find him. It was difficult to figure out the item you needed in order to be able to fight him. And then it was very difficult to beat him. He was a very tough boss. Like, you had to basically have characters maxed out, and he had like the 4 crystals in front of him. One was colored blue, red, yellow, green. You know, it was very, very Final Fantasy-esque. So that was one of mine. And my last one.
Did you? You said blue, red, yellow, green.
Yeah, like one of them is like a support one that heals, and one shoots fire, one shoots ice, one shoots lightning. Which
I find funny is because it's like another level of Easter egg. Because if you look at the Super Famicom buttons, it's blue, red, yellow, green.
That's a good one too. Which, you know, the game was probably, you know, created for Japanese audiences first anyway, so, you know, would have made sense. My last one comes from a couple of my favorite games from the Super Nintendo era, Mega Man X and Mega Man X2. They actually had 2 secret unlockable things you could do in those games that were pretty difficult to do if you didn't know. But you finally find a last upgrade capsule that has Dr. Light in a hologram, and he's wearing Ryu from Street Fighter's bandana. And he says, I give you this special ability, and then you're able to shoot a Hadoken fireball. Which is really cool. And then in Mega Man X2, they did something similar, but in that one, you actually get the Shoryuken, the Dragon Punch that you know, Ryu and Ken are able to do in Street Fighter 2, which, you know, they're both Capcom games, so it wasn't like they were stealing from anybody, but it was a very fun nod if you played Street Fighter games like I did.
Capcom is so good at that too, because you remember in Dead Rising 3, if you got a certain ending, it unlocked the Buster armor.
I didn't get that far.
Oh man! So you actually could unlock the Buster armor as a wearable suit with weapon.
Oh, I do remember seeing a video of that because I think I saw it was like in like a demo area or whatever. It wasn't like in the actual game. It was just like they were just showing it off, and it had the wave beam Buster shot. I do remember seeing that. I never played it though.
I played through and beat it, and I got it.
Yeah.
So then you can go through and play like the new game plus with that armor and weapon.
That sounds fun.
Which is dumb fun.
Well, especially with that many zombies. That was before, you know, like you're taking out hordes of zombies at a time.
Yeah.
So, well, that was my list. I could have gone on. I was, you know, trying to remember some of these and looking them up, and I saw so many Easter eggs that I didn't feel right mentioning because I didn't actually experience them. I limited my list to ones that I had actually seen. But man, go do some Google searching on some Easter eggs in video games. You'll be surprised, you know, some that you missed. Ones that I almost wanted to play the game just to experience the Easter egg. But we got some community responses as well. We'll start with me, go to CB, and then Alyssa. Starting on Facebook, we got one comment on Facebook this week from Sean Coates. He says, let's see where to begin. I can think of several games, but I want to shine a light on Cyberpunk 2077. There's a wealth of random Easter eggs, usually referencing other sci-fi properties. Some of these range from random visual gags to full-on side missions. Several nods to Blade Runner, Ghost in the Shell, Terminator 2, John Wick, just to name a few. Seriously, there are YouTube videos dedicated to just the Easter eggs, and they're not short videos. Now, CB, you've played through that game. Do you remember seeing any of them?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that any of the large open world games like that, like they are crammed with them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just talking about that reminded me of one in, I think it was one of the Assassin's Creed games where you go up against. There's a guy playing a mini game, and it actually turned out to be I think it's Bryce Harper, who's a professional baseball player, and you play baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in an Assassin's Creed game.
I don't remember that. I thought I exhausted Assassin's Creed games.
It was one of the. I want to say it was Valhalla.
Oh, that's why I didn't. I didn't make it very far in Valhalla.
No, you didn't.
No.
But yeah, like I just love though that there's with some of these large open world games that there's so much like love and care that they try to hide
the game that
stuff.
we didn't mention that has like some of the best Easter eggs was that that shark game. What was that?
Manhunter.
You remember like all those things you like found underwater, like those?
Oh yeah,
that just were always like some kind of pop culture reference.
Yeah, or some of the missions themselves that were just entirely pop culture references.
Yeah. I forgot about that game. That game was stupid fun.
Yeah, that game is still stupid fun.
Oh man, that was a good game.
All right, moving over to Discord. Alan Sheck, I thought it'd be cool to meet the Game Freak development team in Celadon City and Pokemon Red. It was so meta hearing the phrase, "I'm the graphic artist. I drew you."
I do remember this from my multiple times playing this game as a child.
Oh, man. See, I never played Red as a kid. I always played Blue because my brother got Red.
So that whole thing was not in Blue, but it was in Red?
Oh no, it's in both of them.
Oh.
But it's always funny because people are like, I played Pokemon Red, and I'm like, I played Blue from the scrub. I had Blastoise on my cart, not Charizard.
All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Ferris says 1991 fairy tale adventure epic game. Inside the instruction manual, LOL, yeah, I just said that. There's a page dedicated to the save feature, which involves a password. They include a screenshot of the password screen. Well, there's a password there in its entirety, sans the final digit. Takes no time to cycle through your options to ultimately discover that the code was a god mode. Every single item, everything from weapons to gear to potions to keys, everything. Access to the entire world. It was dope.
Man, I miss stuff like that.
I'm gonna have to go check this out now.
Yeah. Do you know the game? I've never heard of it.
I haven't either.
I recently bought the game.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Of course you did.
It's funny because Kevin and I were just talking about it the other day because it's an EA title.
Mm-hmm.
So the box looks different than all the other Sega boxes because the color is split differently.
Ah, okay. I just that stuff is fun. I remember when instruction manuals were a thing like that.
I loved instruction manuals.
Man, when I would rent games from the store, I would like read that thing on the way home to like learn how to play the game before I got it.
I loved when they had the little character biographies and all that in there as well. I just loved them.
Remember Star Tropics where they had like the map that you needed to like submerge in water to get the password in order to
Yep.
like get through the game? Like you like could you imagine like if you rented that game you were screwed because you were not going to have the map.
Or Mike Tyson's Punch-Out where it came with a letter from Mike Tyson.
I did not know that. The original had a letter from Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
That's
Star
cool.
Tropics has the letter in it that you have to soak in water. But a lot of the old games had those. Like it was all the cool little box inserts.
Yeah, we're not going to have that anymore.
Or like
I feel like when you buy a game, it doesn't even have anything in it anymore.
Unless you buy from Limited Run.
There you go.
But yes, I do. I hate that. Like manuals have gone away. It makes me sad.
As well. I mean, I can't say I've read one in recent years, but especially after playing Tunic
you can't.
and seeing what they did with that game, I was like, man, I missed those instruction manuals. Yeah. Mark Zabansky says NBA Jam had a bunch of hidden playable characters, but my favorite was George Clinton from Parliament Funkadelic. Not sure if this is an Easter egg, but when Psycho Mantis would read your mind, also known as scan your memory card, and tell you what games you've played was a pretty awesome trick. I did not remember George Clinton. I remember Clinton the president.
Oh, there's a ton of them.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, like if you go online, like you'd have to look it up. There's a giant list. And it was always cool because the arcades, like at bowling alleys, if they had an NBA Jam that they never turned off, because you could unlock those characters on the arcade machine too.
And they just stay on there as long as you
so if you went to an arcade that like never shut the power off, they would have all these unlocked characters on NBA Jam.
That's awesome. How'd they get away with doing a president, though? I just feel like you could not do that today.
Different time, man. Different time.
Apparently. I loved his callback to Metal Gear Solid as well. The whole Psycho Mantis thing in general was just such a freaking clever thing. Like, you'd be playing a game and you have to, save your game on a memory card. Kids, this was a little plastic thing you had to put in the PlayStation to save your game before cloud and internal memory storage was a thing on consoles. And it would actually read the memory card and see what games you were playing or what games you're playing most. And then Psycho Mantis would actually reference the name of that game while talking to you. I see you love Castlevania. Like, he was reading your mind, but he was actually reading your... What a freaking cool idea. Like, how hard would that be to do something like that nowadays and just blow people's minds? Everything's on your hard drive.
You know how funny it would have been, though, if you were using, like, the family PlayStation? As you're sitting here playing through this, it's like, I see you like to play Barbie Horse Adventure. And I'm like, what? No, I don't.
That actually was on PlayStation.
Or you borrowed, like, your friend's memory card, and there's, like, some, like, I see that you like to play Elmo's Tickle Me game.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what the?
What's my friend into?
Yeah.
That Metal Gear Solid movie comes out, there has to be a reference to that in the game somewhere.
There will be a Psycho Mantis moment. Oh my god, I can't fight this guy. Let me unplug my controller and move it to port 2.
I don't know how you would translate that to a movie, but just I would be satisfied with just
move the gun from your left hand to your right hand.
There you go. That'll work. All right, we got one more. CB.
All right, from Twitter at SNES is life. The dead Doom Trooper in Duke Nukem 3D is the one that always stuck out in my memory.
And I saw a screenshot of it, but I've never played Duke Nukem 3D, but it's very clearly the Doom guy.
Oh, Duke Nukem has a ton of them. If you play Duke Nukem Forever, there's the Halo armor.
Okay.
Where he calls Master Chief a wuss. Or the Wholesome Twins.
I don't remember that.
If you play Duke Nukem Forever, you would know who the Wholesome Twins are. But it's an obvious play on the Olsen Twins.
Gotcha.
Man, like, how? Speaking of id, how did we not talk about John Romero?
Actually, that was the picture I posted on this topic.
Yeah.
So apparently, when you fight the final boss in Doom 2, the boss is laying there, and you actually have to like move through his head, which actually goes into like another door, and then you actually see a pixelated picture of John Romero, and you have to shoot him in the face a few times to actually like progress or something.
Yeah, does I don't know. BJ Blazkowicz.
Right. I just listened to the what was that book? Doom.
Masters of Doom.
Thank you. And I was just curious because I'd never seen these guys and looked them up. I didn't. That digital version does not look a lot like Romero to me, but I don't know.
Well, it looks like Romero from back then.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, he's changed his look a few times.
No, like I just picture him with glasses. I don't know, but
yeah.
But that was a fun topic, guys. I know. Yeah. I really enjoyed kind of going through that and seeing those. And if we missed any guys that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments when we post this episode on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, whatever. I'd love to hear the ones that we missed that you found as favorites. On next week's episode, I believe we're going to be talking about video game literature. I know we talked about documentaries and things in the past, but reading that Masters of Doom book really got me thinking about. I want to hear some recommendations of video game nonfiction that is recommended reading, because I don't have a whole lot, and I want to hear some suggestions from everybody. So stay tuned next week for that. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. CB and Alyssa, thank you guys so much for joining me once again. Any parting words before we head out for the night?
Yeah, I got some.
You got some?
I got some. For those of you on the fence about buying a Lego Nintendo 64 question block.
Oh, yeah.
Do it. It is glorious.
It looks like it has so many moving parts that just do interesting things. Like it.
I have to give Nintendo, well, not just Nintendo, but Lego credit. This thing has some insane engineering to it.
Yeah.
Like how it comes apart and folds and like goes together. I'm impressed. Like I thought the Nintendo one was clever with the fact that it has a moving screen. Like this one is just as good.
Really?
I want them to make more.
I don't think they're going to stop, man, because people are buying them.
It's so. Well, I mean, it's so. Well, there was the NES like one. The NES set came out, then the Question Block one came out like right away, and now there's just like it's been silent. But like now that we have the Sonic the Hedgehog one, like I want a Genesis one. Like I want to have little Lego console wars.
Yeah. How much is that?
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It's $170.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's not cheap.
Holy cow.
Though it is cheaper than the Nintendo set one.
Man.
The Nintendo set one is over $200.
It just blows my mind how expensive Legos are.
You're telling me, man.
It's freaking plastic. I mean, I understand it's
molded. It's molded Dutch plastic.
It's insane. Wow. Well, I will gladly check out yours and not pay the $170.
Yeah, I know.
But Alyssa, how about you? Anything you want to recommend?
So this was foreshadowed, I think, 2 podcasts ago when Zach and I were talking. But one of the new spring animes, Spy Family. I love the manga series. 2 episodes of the anime have aired, and it is delightful. It's everything I wanted from the manga adaptation, and I have a huge crush on both Lloyd and Yor Forger, the male and female lead in this series, and it's a funny series. I've laughed both episodes, but it's about a man who is a spy, and he gets a mission that requires him to infiltrate this elite academy, but he doesn't have a kid or anything, so they tell him, you need to have a child in a week. And he's like, how is that possible? So he goes to an orphanage, adopts a little girl named Anya. She is the cutest thing ever, but he doesn't realize she's a telepath and she can read his mind. And she thinks he's a spy. So cool. So she tricks her way into having him adopt her. And then they're like, oh, you also need to get a wife because this school that you need to enroll your kid in, they have to have both parents, which is kind of a crabby rule in my opinion, but he just finds a single 27-year-old woman, Yor, who is extremely beautiful, doesn't realize she's an assassin. So it's just this family that everyone doesn't know who the other person is besides the little girl who knows everything.
That sounds incredibly clever.
Yeah.
It's so funny, so cute, full of action.
What's it called again?
Spy Family. It's currently, well, it's probably only going to be on Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. But it is delightful.
That sounds really interesting. I'm obviously not into that stuff as much as you are, but that one might be worth checking out. I've got a recommendation as well. I really try not to do movie recommendations as much as possible, but I cannot help but recommend this film I saw this weekend. I know everybody's talking about it, but I finally saw, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Which has Michelle Yeoh in it, and I went into this movie not knowing anything about it except it was like multi-universe type things. Guys, this movie is a movie I could not stop thinking about for a full day after watching it. Have either of you seen it yet?
I want to see it so bad, but it was only in the theater here this past weekend, and I just didn't feel well enough to go, and it's no longer there, so I have to wait for it to come out digitally.
When it comes out digitally, do not even hesitate. Just know going into this movie, and I'm going to say this without giving anything away whatsoever, this is not a movie for everyone. Which is an interesting thing to say because critics and fans alike are just praising this movie like crazy. I've not heard a single person say that they didn't like it. Either that or the vocal minority is talking about it. But when I say it's not for everybody, I am not going to tell you why. because I want you to go into this movie as blind as possible, but do know that the things that they do that are, quote, not for everyone are not done with the intention of just being different. There actually is a narrative purpose behind everything that is done in this movie that comes together in a way that I just found incredibly satisfying by the end. I cannot wait to watch it again. So, yeah, everything, everywhere, all at once. And plus, I don't know if how many people know this, but the guy that played Short Round is in this movie. And he is the best thing about this movie. He's now like an old man. And his voice is the same, which is great. I seriously adore this movie. Also, last one, I promise, Apple TV, please watch Severance. I need to talk about this show with somebody because I've told so many people about it and nobody has watched it except for 2 people. And they're afraid to talk to me about it until I finish it. So I need someone else to watch this show with me. It is a mind trip. I don't even want to tell you what it's about. If at all possible, go into Severance knowing as little as possible. Just the opening. You know how TV shows have that opening title sequence where they play a song and have shots or whatever. The first episode doesn't even play in the first episode. They just do a cold open, and you don't even see that intro until the second episode because that in itself would kind of give you an idea of what the show's about. So try to go into it as blind as possible. The show's called Severance on Apple TV. It gives me Lost vibes in a good way, not in a bad way. I know people are mixed about Lost, but good reasons that it reminds me of Lost in terms of mystery and what's going on and what does this mean. So I am absolutely loving this show. I cannot wait to see how it wraps up. There's only 9 episodes, so they're about an hour each, and some really good actors. Adam Scott. Patricia Arquette is in it. There's even an appearance by Christopher Walken. And they do something with Christopher Walken that I never in a million years would have guessed they would do with Christopher Walken.
Is it more cowbell?
No, it's not more cowbell. Oh my God, I'm going to crack up laughing if they just shows up with a cowbell. But well, anyway, thank you everybody so much for listening. The Gaming Outsider is produced by Nate Lucas, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Mr. Grant Henry of Stemmage and Metroid Metal. You can check out his website at stemmagemusic.com. And Grant, if you are listening, go play Blast Brigade, my friend. You're welcome. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Chris Behrensmeyer and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.